For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. President Donald Trump has landed in the Middle East for a 4-day business trip to wealthy Gulf nations, where he has property developments in. First stop, the despotic Saudi Arabia, where Trump was greeted by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The two just signed agreements of $600 billion in new Saudi investments in the U.S., including in energy and defense. The two leaders are expected to hold talks on U.S. efforts to dismantle Iran's nuclear program and an end to the war in Gaza. That could include normalized relations between Riyadh and Israel. Trump's also slated to take part in a U.S.-Saudi investment conference. He's joined by a billionaire entourage of tech moguls in Saudi Arabia, including Elon Musk, Sam Altman of OpenAI, and the CEO of NVIDIA. Israeli strikes killed 11 Palestinians today, including a journalist in a strike on the Nasser Medical Center, where he was receiving medical treatment. Israel said Hassan Esliah was involved in the October 7th massacre in southern Israel, but colleagues say Esliah was a journalist covering the attack, not participating in it. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization is warning the starvation of Palestinians from Israel's blockade of food could have long-term impacts on Palestinian children in Gaza, resulting in impaired cognitive development and stunted growth. The head of the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, UNRWA, calls the blockade of aid and other military policies a war crime. Here's Philippe Lazzarini.
Any account, the number of people who have been killed is huge and certainly underestimated. We have seen the systematic destruction also of a school, of health center. So there is absolutely no doubt that we are talking about massive atrocities.
Philippe Lazzarini. More details are emerging about the GOP tax bill unveiled Monday. It tallies at $4.9 trillion in tax cuts, mostly for the wealthy, over a decade, partly paid for with reductions to Medicaid. $880 billion over the same time frame, also $290 million in cuts to federal nutrition programs like food stamps or SNAP, and slashing or eliminating green energy programs. All are used by millions of Americans. The 398-page bill also seeks to boost the standard deduction, child tax credit, and estate tax exemption, while adding new tax breaks on tipped wages, overtime pay, Social Security benefits, and auto loans that President Donald Trump promised during his campaign for the White House. More from Alex Gonzalez.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says Republicans will have a busy week working on the budget, almost $900 billion in Medicaid cuts to pay for extending tax cuts, mostly for the wealthy.
We've been working on that package for over a year. We knew he was going to win another term and that we would have unified government. We cannot waste this opportunity, so there's not been a lot of rest around here.
The Energy and Commerce Committee will consider adding work requirements and more frequent eligibility checks. Johnson says that'll reduce waste and fraud, but Democrats warn 13 million people could lose health coverage. Chiquita Brooks-LaSure led the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services under Biden.
So-called work requirements have only been proven to add rather than reduce wasteful spending to the program, as well as overwhelm eligible enrollees.
The deep Medicaid cuts are unpopular with swing district Republicans who could sink the bill in the nearly tied House. GOP Missouri Senator Josh Hawley says slashing health care for the working class is both morally wrong and political suicide. I'm Alex Gonzalez for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
A federal judge is refusing to block the Internal Revenue Service from sharing immigrants' tax data with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, for the purpose of identifying and deporting undocumented people in the U.S. It's a win for the Trump administration. District Judge Dabney Friedrich denied a preliminary injunction Monday in a suit filed by nonprofit groups who argued undocumented immigrants that pay taxes are entitled to the same privacy protections as U.S. citizens and immigrants who are legally in the country. President Trump has tapped his one-time defense attorney to serve as acting Librarian of Congress. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche would replace longtime librarian Carla Hayden, the first woman and African-American to hold the post, who the White House fired last week amid criticism from some conservatives she was advancing a woke agenda. Blanche was recently named the #2 Justice Department official after serving a criminal defense attorney defending Trump against 2 cases brought by the Justice Department. California Governor Gavin Newsom has called on the state, cities, and counties to ban homeless encampments. He made the comments while his administration provided blueprint legislation for dismantling tents lining streets.
Tents and encampments. It simply cannot continue. It cannot be a way of life, living out on the streets, in sidewalks, in what are almost become permanent structures, impeding foot traffic, impeding our ability for our kids to walk the streets in strollers, or seniors with disabilities and wheelchairs, even navigating their sidewalks. We cannot allow that to continue.
Alex Vistosky with the National Alliance to End Homelessness said in a statement that studies have shown encampment bans and other punitive measures make it even harder for people to find stable housing and work. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.